Hey everyone. In this video, I'm going to do a short walkthrough on how to go from essentially having nothing installed on your computer to being able to submit your homework. So I'm going to cover a few things. First off, I'm going to look at doing a BlueJ installation. Then we're going to use BlueJ to do a little bit of coding. And then I'm going to show you in Blackboard what you need to do in order to take those files and then submit them to us. So let's go ahead and get started. Over here, I just have Blackboard open. So this is from this semester, from B session. So this is week 1, right? This is the content you're going to be working on, hopefully submitting on Sunday, right? The deadline is at midnight. I suppose this is a kind of a one semester video, right? I'm just giving this to you guys, so I may make some references to this specific B session. Anyways, in here, right, there's a bunch of work for you guys to do, but the main thing we're going to be talking about is over here, which is the programming, right? So in programming, I'm asking you guys to fill out kind of or to write 4 different programs. And so actually what we're going to do is I'm going to go through, right, like I said, from scratch, doing it. Well, we'll do most of the first problem, most of Q1, which is asking you to print out your initials. And then I'll show you kind of what that submission process will look like. So for programming, right, there's going to be these 4 problems here. And we'll kind of, at least, I'll show you how to do the first one, and then I'll show you how to package them together and submit them to us. I guess as a quick note, maybe something I should have said at the beginning, I'm not going to really edit this video. I kind of want to just get it out there to you guys. The videos you'll see that are associated with the chapters, generally I go through them and I watch them, I do some edits, I try to make them shorter. This I'm just going to record and put out there so you guys can have it as soon as possible. All right, so let's say we want to do our homework for this week. First thing we need to do, install BlueJ. So let me go over here. I have a blank tab open. I'm just in Chrome. And what I want to do is I want to go to BlueJ. And I suppose I'm lazy, so I'll just Google it. And let's go BlueJ. First one, www.bluej.org. So BlueJ is the ID that I typically recommend for CST 200, or generally for any introductory Java course. Basically, it's a very simple Java IDE. There are a lot of IDEs out there. Other people may have, you may have seen other classes, stuff like Eclipse or NetBeans. The other IDEs are nice tools, but as a student that's starting in Java, it's going to take you a long time to get used to using them. BlueJ is nice because you can get up and running very quickly and be able to actually work on things and see what your result is without having to learn kind of a bunch of project management stuff, a bunch of user interface components, and all this other stuff. So let's go BlueJ. So the first thing I'm going to have to do here is I'm going to have to scroll down a little bit and download the version of BlueJ that's appropriate for the computer I'm using. Now, you may have already guessed this, but I am on Windows. So what I need to do here is grab the Windows download. If you're on Mac or on something else, you'll need to look down here, right? There's other installations available. But for me, I'm on Windows, so let me just grab this version of BlueJ. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make kind of life easy for myself, and I'm actually going to grab the version called BlueJ Installer with Java 8 JDK. So BlueJ is the ID. It's the integrated development environment, right, where you do all your coding, all your work. That's kind of what you see on the screen. The other part here it's talking about, this Java 8 JDK, that's the Java compiler / interpreter / many other things. There's a whole lot of things in the JDK. But this is kind of the back end, right? This is Java itself that you're downloading. Without that, you're not actually able to run any of the code you write. So we need both pieces, right? We need the editor and we need the ability to actually run stuff. So I'll grab the complete package. If you already have the Java JDK installed from maybe another class, then you'll just want to be able. Then the only thing you need to get is this BlueJ installer, this over here. But kind of the easiest way to go is just to grab the whole thing. So let me go ahead and download that. And it looks like we have a couple minutes to download, so maybe a quick pause, and then once it's done, I'll come back to it. And there we go. BlueJ is now downloaded. So main thing for us is we need to run this and get this installed. So here I'm just going to keep on recording here so you can see what I'm doing. Basically, I'm just going to click next a bunch of times. Generally, the default settings will work fine. And copy, copy, copy. BlueJ isn't that big. I'm not sure why it wants to take all this time. Well, I guess 158 MB is a little bit, but still. All right, so now we got it installed. So now that we have it, we want to actually run it. So over here, you can see that on my desktop, it's added a BlueJ icon. And maybe you can even add this to your taskbar or something if you want to use it a lot. But let's go ahead and start it. So here we go, little BlueJ splash screen, and then our BlueJ window. And I actually have some code here from before. Let me actually remove this really quick. Let's delete that out. All right, so if you are installing from scratch, you will probably see this screen here, right? So I had BlueJ installed a while ago, and I had uninstalled it for this video. But here, if you're installing for the first time, you should see this window here, which is essentially blank, right? What we need to do before we can actually use BlueJ and we can actually start our coding, which is what we want to do next, what we need to do is create what is called a project. A project is this sort of bundling of your source code together. Because in the future, once you get to kind of the more advanced content, what you'll end up doing is writing programs that contain a bunch of different source files. Well, if we want to have a bunch of different source files, we need to have some way to indicate they all go together. The way we do that in BlueJ and in most IDEs is by creating something called a project. And in that project, we'll put all of our different files, and then maybe there'll be some settings that are associated with that kind of grouping of files. It gives us kind of just a nice workplace that we can use to put things.